All right. Well, we're here in Red Square on the UW campus, looking toward Suzzallo Library and down toward Drumheller Fountain. In composing this scene, I want to include, again, the context for where I am, which means I want to be able to include these people here sitting underneath those umbrellas to my left. I want to include Gerberding Hall to my right. The center focus should be Suzzallo Library. What I want to establish first is the basic structure for the scene. I'm going to try to establish the library, see that as a simple gable form, the distance between Gerberding and the Suzzallo Library, and establish the group of people on my left. To start, I'm going to start with the facade of Suzzallo Library. See that as a simple plane, not worry about the details. And it's about, if it's a 1 unit high, it's about 2.25 units long. So I'm going to start with the right-hand edge of Suzzallo. See that as the height. And again, the next thing I'm going to do is establish where I am. If I project myself to where I would be in the library, I'd be about the same height as those people sitting underneath those umbrellas. So the horizon line would be there. I have to gauge, again, at what slope the top of the wall is receding. So it's 1, 2.25. Now, based upon the height of that wall, I can estimate the distance to Gerberding. It's a little bit wider than it is high. And the height of that tower on Gerberding is about the same height as the top of the wall of Suzzallo Library. That sculpture there is about estimated. The center of that sculpture is right about there. I'm going to establish the foreground. And then this top step in the foreground here. So now I have the basic structure of Red Square looking at Suzzallo Library. The fountain is right there. This is really the basic setup. Once I have that, then I can start developing the facade of Suzzallo Library. The thing to see is that it consists of two bands, the stone plus the brickwork above. The ratio of the stone to the brickwork is about 1 to 1.5. And then how many bays? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bays. And notice how it's divided 4, then 3 bays for the entry, and 4. Perspective views are experiential views, so you always want to try to imply where you are, the drawer is, relative to what you're looking at. So that's why I wanted to include this group of people to my left here, as well as this leading edge of this step here to establish the foreground for what I'm seeing beyond that. The focus obviously was on Suzzallo Library, and I started there. It's interesting, as I went along, I faded out so that the focus would be here rather than toward the edges. So I guess the one lesson is knowing when to stop a drawing. The other thing is how to simplify detail, because you can't draw everything you see, so you have to decide what you're going to focus on and what's not. Perspective, the other thing about drawing perspectives of spaces is to look at the relationship between buildings, such as Gerberding to Suzzallo, the relationship between the sculpture and Suzzallo, to get a sense of this space that's in front of Suzzallo, not just focusing on the building.